Before you take that gummy tonight, I need to tell you something your pharmacist probably never had time to say.
Melatonin is the fourth most popular supplement in America, and most people taking it right now are taking it in a way that's actively working against them. Too much, too late. From a bottle whose label may not tell the truth. And every time it stops working, they take more. That's the trap, and we're going to get you out of it. And this week, while we were pulling together everything we could find on melatonin for this video, one number stopped us cold: 88. That's the percentage of melatonin gummies tested in a 2023 research letter in the Journal of the American Medical Association that contained the wrong dose. Wrong by how much? The actual melatonin in those gummies ranged from 74% to 347% of what the label stated. One product that claimed 3 milligrams per serving actually had over 10. Which means if you've been doing everything you thought was right, and the product itself was 3 times stronger than you were told, I want you to hear this clearly. That's not your fault.
So let's start at the beginning. What does melatonin actually do? Your pineal gland, which sits roughly in the center of your brain, releases melatonin in response to darkness. Not sleep, darkness. And what melatonin does is send a signal through 2 specific receptors, your MT1 and your MT2 receptors, in a part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That structure is your internal clock. Melatonin tells it is nighttime. Lower the body temperature, ease the alertness signals, create the conditions where sleep can happen.
That is the key sentence. Melatonin creates the conditions. It doesn't knock you out. It isn't a sedative. As Johns Hopkins sleep expert Luis Buenaver puts it puts you into a state of quiet wakefulness that helps promote sleep. And when people expect it to work like a sleeping pill, they increase the dose because they want a stronger knockout effect. But melatonin's effect doesn't scale up the way sedatives do. That's not how this receptor system works. Taking 10 milligrams instead of 1 milligram doesn't make you 10 times sleepier. According to research summarized in National Geographic in 2025, melatonin's dose-response curve is flat. Researchers at sleep medicine programs describe taking 3 milligrams versus 0.3 milligrams as mostly irrelevant from a clinical point of view.
And here's the number that actually matters. Your body produces roughly 0.3 milligrams of melatonin at its nighttime peak. That's the baseline the MT1 and MT2 receptors are calibrated to respond to. The average OTC gummy starts at 3 milligrams. Many go to 5 or 10. That's 10 to 30 times what your brain naturally produces.
When you flood those receptors with doses that far exceed what they're designed for, 2 things happen. First, you get REM sleep amplification. Melatonin increases the time you spend in REM, the sleep stage when most dreams occur. This is why higher doses produce vivid dreams and sometimes nightmares. You're not having a side effect from the melatonin in some mysterious way. You're spending more time in the sleep stage where dreaming happens, because the hormone drove you there harder than it should have.
Second, and this matters if you've noticed your melatonin stop working over time, the MT1 and MT2 receptors can become less responsive to repeated high-dose stimulation. Your brain may start needing more to get the same response or stop responding consistently at all. Taking less, not more, is often the reset. If you've been in that escalation loop, you're not alone. The pattern we saw repeated in the research was this: start at 3 milligrams, works for a while, stop working, try 5, stop working again, try 10, still staring at the ceiling. What the research shows is that each step up was amplifying the problem, not solving it. Now, the mislabeling data. This is the moment that changed how we thought about this topic. Researchers from Cambridge Health Alliance and the University of Mississippi purchased 25 melatonin gummy products from mainstream retailers, the first 25 listed in the National Institutes of Health Dietary Supplement Database. They tested what was actually inside. 22 of those 25 products were inaccurately labeled. The range of actual melatonin found was 74% to 347% of the stated quantity. One product labeled at 3 milligrams contained over 10. 5 products contained cannabidiol, or CBD, one of which contained no detectable melatonin at all. This was published in JAMA in April of 2023. The Food and Drug Administration does not have authority to approve melatonin products before they're sold. Melatonin is classified as a dietary supplement, not a drug, so no pre-market safety check exists. What does this mean practically? If you've been taking what you thought was 3 milligrams and your gummy actually contained 6 or 10, you were getting a high-dose sleep signal every night and waking up with the excess still in your system. Melatonin's half-life in immediate release form is 20 to 40 minutes, but depending on the dose and formulation, it can persist in the body for 4 to 8 hours. Take 10 milligrams, or what you thought was 3 but was actually 10 at 11 p.m., and some of that melatonin may still be active at 7 a.m. when your alarm goes off. That's the groggy commute. That's the fog at 9 in the morning. That's not a character flaw. That's pharmacokinetics.
Let's talk about what the 2025 American Heart Association study actually found, because this one made a lot of headlines and deserves a careful read. Researchers from SUNY Downstate used a large international health record database to look at adults who had chronic insomnia. Those with documented melatonin use for 12 months or more showed approximately a 90% higher association with heart failure over a 5-year period, versus matched individuals who also had insomnia but no melatonin record. That's a significant number. But the study's own authors said clearly, this cannot prove cause and effect.
And here's the clinical nuance that got lost in the headlines. Every single person in this study had chronic insomnia. Chronic insomnia itself is a known risk factor for cardiovascular disease. The people using melatonin long-term were likely the people with more severe or treatment-resistant insomnia, the same people who face higher cardiovascular risk regardless of what they take. As Dr. Robert Page, a cardiac pharmacist at CU Anschutz School of Pharmacy, put it in November 2025, melatonin use here may be a marker, not a cause. Like coffee and cigarettes and lung cancer, the coffee isn't the problem. The point the researchers wanted people to take away is not melatonin is dangerous. It's if you've been taking it every night for a year or more, that's a signal to talk to a doctor about what's actually going on with your sleep. Because melatonin, in the US, is not indicated for chronic insomnia. It works for specific things: jet lag, delayed sleep phase disorder, shift work, situations where your clock is out of sync with your environment. That's the system it's designed to fix. And now the clock signal protocol. This is the framework that came out of everything the clinical research points to when melatonin is used correctly. Principle 1. Melatonin shifts your clock. It doesn't cause sleep. The difference between those two things is the difference between using it right and using it wrong. If your clock is on time but you can't fall asleep, melatonin isn't your answer. If your clock is off, you're a shift worker. You've just flown across time zones. You're trying to move your bedtime earlier. Melatonin at the right time is a genuine tool.
Principle 2. Your body makes 0.3 milligrams. Your gummy has 30 times that. More isn't stronger. It's noisier. The receptors don't get louder, they get confused. And they get tired of being flooded. The dose the research supports for clock shifting is between 0.3 and 1 milligram. Not 5. Not 10.
Principle 3. Timing beats dose every single time. The right amount at the wrong time does nothing useful. If you want to fall asleep earlier, to shift your sleep window forward, you take a low dose 3 to 5 hours before your target sleep time, not 30 minutes before bed at 10 milligrams. A dose of 0.5 milligrams taken at 7 p.m. when you want to sleep at 11 is more effective for that goal than 10 milligrams at 10:30.
Here's what we'd suggest trying tonight. Stop at your pharmacy or check your current bottle. Look for a United States Pharmacopeia Verification Seal, USP verified. That's your signal that an independent organization has confirmed the actual dose matches the label. If your bottle doesn't have one, 3 products currently verified are the Nature-Made 3 mg and 5 mg tablets and the Natural 5 mg Fast Dissolve. Start with the lowest available dose, ideally half a milligram to 1 milligram. Take it 1 to 2 hours before bed or 3 to 4 hours before bed if your goal is to fall asleep significantly earlier. Turn the lights down at the same time. Your body's own melatonin production is still there and will rise with darkness. You're supporting that signal, not overriding it.
And if you've been giving melatonin to your children, please talk to your pediatrician before the next dose. The same mislabeling problem applies to pediatric products. A gummy that says 0.5 milligrams may contain significantly more. Children's bodies are more sensitive to hormonal signals. the call volume to poison control about pediatric melatonin ingestion increased 530% between 2012 and 2021. Not from overdose events, mostly from kids getting into gummies that look like candy, but the label accuracy problem means doses to children can be unpredictable. That's a conversation worth having before the next bedtime.
The gummy says 3. The clock says 5 hours earlier. Your body says 0.3. If this changed how you think about the bottle in your cabinet, leave a comment below with your dose and whether this video made you want to go smaller. And subscribe before the next video, because we're going straight into what actually helps when melatonin isn't the right tool for your specific sleep problem. That's the one to watch next.